FM. I hope you are well, warm, and winning wherever you're listening in from. It's been a absolutely wonderful few days, Alhamdulillah, for the pleasure of marking Eid-ul-Adha. I hope you've had a wonderful time with your friends and family and had the opportunity to enjoy the festivities and the lovely food as well. The weather has been quite interesting, a little bit chilly across the weekend. It has got a little bit brighter, which is great. Great to get the washing out again. Did you know today is International Clothesline Week? Yes. Where do they make these things up from? Now, it's a week dedicated to embracing the simple joy and advantages of hanging laundry outdoors. The fresh air and sunshine make clothes smell great and bring a bit of exercise and relaxation into our daily routines. So, folks, the weather is good. Get your washing out. I'm sure there's loads of washing to do after all the festivities around Eid-ul-Adha. And yes, I've got a basket full that needs to get washed. But unfortunately, I don't have a washing machine at the moment. Inshallah, that should be arriving this week. So I miss getting the clothes out in the fresh air and dried. I mean, a lot of people have a tendency of drying their clothes indoors. But I don't know if that's actually a good thing, especially as I believe it creates a bit of damp around the house. I don't know. You'll need to tell me. Moving on from this conversation around International Clothesline Week. Once again, Eid Mubarak, a belated Eid Mubarak to everybody listening in. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. I hope you had a wonderful time at the Inspire FM Eid. We had the absolute pleasure of hosting you all there, albeit the weather. And inshallah, we hope to see you again for our next Eid event. Now, massive big Mubaraks to all our brothers and sisters who completed Hajj as well. I've been following so many stories. I don't know if you've actually followed our live footage that we had on Inspire FM as well, that Brother Tarek had the pleasure of speaking to many people local to us who were doing Hajj, mashallah. Now, two extraordinary groups of individuals have actually completed Hajj in the most remarkable way are the brothers that went on the Hajj sail, mashallah. They sailed from London all the way up to Saudi, and they've completed that, and they've completed their Hajj, mashallah, with a wonderful reception. And whilst they were out there, they came across brothers who actually went on horseback ride all the way to Hajj as well. And these are brothers that I'm going to, inshallah, interview on the show very, very shortly. Other interesting activities that are happening is a Muslim girls fencing group, which is happening in Peterborough at the museum there. So that's an interview I'm looking forward to exploring, inshallah, on a few, on a couple of shows' time. So loads of great individuals I'll be talking to. And the show that you're listening into, folks, is the Urban Cube Show. And this show is all about Muslim creativity and arts and lifestyle. And I get the opportunity to speak to trailblazing individuals and exploring conversations with them to motivate, inspire, and engage you with. I really felt that today's show, I wanted to kind of explore the concept of Eid-ul-Adha. We've had the opportunity to kind of mark the occasion with our families, with our friends, and also those far and near to us. But what is the actual premise after? What is it that we can actually learn and continue to explore? Now, we know that that Eid-ul-Adha is a significant day for Muslims globally. It commemorates Prophet Ibrahim's devotion and is celebrated with prayers and gratitude and charitable giving. And now families honor the occasion by sacrificing an animal and sharing it with loved ones and those in need. Now, on today's show, we're going to be looking at Eid-ul-Adha, but we're going to be looking at a call back to the heart from ritual to realignment. And I'm joined by an extraordinary guest. She is a friend of the show, mashallah. We've had the pleasure of listening to her in a previous show. I'm joined today by no other than Uzma Waseem. She is a psychologist. And the reason I've invited her on the show today is I wanted to know whether there were things that we could actually potentially take from Eid-ul-Adha and what we can do moving forward from this very auspicious occasion. Now, I think today's show, I hope, opens up more of a door to a deep and soulful reflection. And I hope that we can kind of look at ways we can explore what sacrifice, what our Eid sacrifice can look like this year. It maybe could be the courage to walk away from what's unhealthy. Maybe it's the strength to forgive. Maybe it's the finally facing your truth. Now, Eid-ul-Adha is not just a celebration, it's potentially a mirror, and it asks, what will you let go of to become who you're meant to be? And to talk to me more about this, I'm delighted to be joined by no other than the wonderful Uzma Waseem, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Uzma.
Walaikum assalam, Shemiza. Can I just say that I've just made an honorary gesture to the clothes hanging. I don't have a clothesline in my garden, so I've come into my conservatory and I've just put a few items on very, very quickly. What do you think?
I think it looks wonderful, folks, and you can actually go onto Facebook Live. The wonderful Uzma is in her conservatory, and she's marking the occasion, marking not just, you know what?
Emptied my dryer.
She's emptied her dryer, put out the clothing on a washing line, because I've been talking about earlier on International Clothesline Week. Uzma, it looks quite lonely, that little bit of a top there. Will it be accompanied by other garments?
It will be. I will be. I had about 30 seconds when I heard what you said. I thought, okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You're an absolute brilliant sport. And that's what it's all about. It's keeping the the energy flowing. And once again, a pleasure to have you join me this morning. And I'm loving your surroundings. Tell us where you're sat for those that are not on Facebook Live this morning.
I'm sat in my enclosed feature in my garden. It's a conservatory and I love it. I love it. It's the closest I can get to nature first thing in the morning, every morning.
Bless you. So what is the ritual that you have in the morning?
I don't really have a ritual, but I think it's whatever. I like to do a bit of contemplation, and whatever my mood is, it will take me to whatever actions I'll take in that morning. The idea is that to realign myself internally. Just into so if I'm feeling a bit claustrophobic, then here I am. A bit.
It looks wonderful. I can see the nature. The one thing that you did say, it's the closest it gets to nature for you, and that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, instantaneously. What gratification? What immediate gratification can you get that will realign you and just get you ready for the day?
Indeed. And what's the weather looking like? And what town are we speaking to you from this morning?
So I'm in Telford, in Shropshire, and the weather is actually quite pleasant. It was raining yesterday, so I know that the temperatures dropped, but I think they're on the rise again today. So it's looking really good.
Great to get the washing out, right?
Almost.
Almost. Folks, if you've just tuned in, you are listening to the Owen Cube. The time is 9 minutes past 10, and I'm joined by psychologist Uzma Waseem. She is joining me today all the way from Telford. You can catch the conversation not just on the radio, but also on Facebook Live. She is on Facebook Live this morning. If you've got any comments you'd like to leave, please feel free to do so, and we'll be happy to read them out. On today's show, we are talking about Eid-ul-Adha, a call back to the heart from ritual to realignment. And today, Uzma is going to be kind of exploring this deep soul connection that we can build upon after Eid as well, inshallah. Um, Firstly, Uzma, a belated Eid Mubarak to you. I want to ask, how was Eid for you?
Khair Mubarak. For me, it wasn't any different. Well, it wasn't so much different to what other Eids I have had. So ritualistically, it was all still there. But I think it's how I thought about it that made it so, so different. So, we had the opportunity to sort of connect with our family ties, spend some time together as a small unit family as well, outside of extended family ties. And we were also blessed to be able to invite new friends into the fold as well. So got to see, spend time with three different kinds of, groups of people. And I think that just made it so fulfilling.
I love that you've brought new friends into the fold and allowing them to have this experience with you, which is a beautiful thing. And it is always about building connections and reminding ourselves the beauty of connection with loved ones. Now, may I just ask you, Uzma, has your understanding of Eid-ul-Adha differed the older you've got?
It has. It definitely has. I mean, as we get older, it's all developmental, isn't it? And lots of things alter, lots of things change, our behaviours, and more importantly, our thoughts, and perhaps how we reflect, contemplate, and think about experiences. That has definitely changed in the way that I see and perceive Eid. It was very different when I was younger. It was very different when I became an adult and started adulting. In the early days, found it quite overwhelming, perhaps became a bit burdening. And then now realizing that's not the way, we should be spending blessed moments like this. And just reframing it and thinking about it so differently. And that was not intentional. I think that just happened naturally for me, and then I just went with it. I sort of surrendered and I thought, okay, let's see where this goes. And I'd love to talk about that surrendering a little bit later when we talk about sacrifice. And I think it's when the day ended, I was just as exhausted, doing exactly the same things as I was doing before. Perhaps, a few nuanced differences here and there, inviting new friends into the fold, that sort of thing, spending time with maybe a few new people, but that was only a small fraction of the day. Majority of it was doing more or less the same as what I always do. But internally, my heart felt so, so different. And the whole family got together, my immediate family, and they just said, this is one of the best Eids I've had in a long time. I thought, whoa, okay, so it's had a ripple effect. Just reframing
Wow.
how I think about it.
I'm so curious. What changed? What shifted?
I think it's a lot of things that I've sort of done in the lead up to Eid, in the lead up to many things in the last year, 2 years. And I think it's just, you hit that age when you just think, okay, I'm getting older, I'm not getting any younger. I don't know how much time I've got left. What's the most I can do? And how can I change? How can I make that shift? Because I'm just not satisfied. I've done lots and lots of things. And while I can measure the success materialistically, internally, I'm not even satisfied with what I've achieved. What is it that I can do differently? And I think one of the turning points for me was going on to a new learning experience. So I decided to do a sub-specialism in Islamic psychology, totally not what I expected. And I think doing psychology as a subspecialism of what I already do on a day-to-day basis, but doing it from an Islamic perspective, it totally opened me up in so many different ways. And that helped me think about things differently. And it wasn't changing things on the outside, it was having an inward shift and changing things on the inside, how I think, and then therefore how I behave. So I think for me, that has helped how I approach things, especially things like Eid.
But delving into that a little bit more deeper, what is it then that you began to think differently then, and how were you approaching things differently? Because I want to be quite honest and quite real. For the women of the household, it can be quite a taxing time because you're having to organize things. You've got to make sure things are cooked. You've got to get the children ready. You've got to get the household all like, clean, spick and span, and then you don't really get time for yourself. So it feels that you're sacrificing above and beyond, but not really. And maybe that sacrifice is the barakah is in that sacrifice as the woman in the household. So how can you find peace to calm your nerves and just feel that this is just a blessing in itself, all the duties?
Yeah, I think that's that I wasn't thinking of it in that way. So I inherently, I suppose it's just the way that I am. If I feel so, I do sort of go against the grain, Shmiza, and if ritualistically it's about certain members of the family, usually it's the mother. Or others that do a lot of things, domestically, whoever that may be, those that are in that domesticated role feel or may perceive that they are doing a lot of sacrifice on the day, and that is very real. It may not just be a perception. That is very, very real for a lot of women, a lot of those that take on that domesticated role. And so for me, that was not it, because I suppose I was just raised with that courage to say, no, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. So I suppose it was not just only that, but staying true to myself and saying, okay, I will do what I need to do to ensure that I'm making it a pleasant day for the family, but we all work together on this. The sacrifice is not just for me. In terms of my time and my energy, it's all of us coming together. But it was more so, even beyond that, what else is it that I might need to be thinking about, sacrificing some of those thoughts and those feelings that I might had about the way things would manifest on the day, especially when it came to relationships. So yeah, I completely get what you're saying, but I suppose for me that there was more to it than just that. It wasn't about sacrificing my time and energy. A lot of people may come back and say, well, that's ajr, isn't it? You're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for others. But then there's a need and an obligation to fulfill that need, and then going above and beyond the need itself.
Wow, sounds fascinating. Folks, it's 18 minutes past 10, 9th of June, and I'm joined by no other than the wonderful Uzma Waseem, who is a psychologist and who's been also sharing with us that she's gained practice in Islamic psychology as well and learnings from that. On today's show, we are exploring the theme of Eid-ul-Adha, a call back to the heart from ritual to realignment, and actually understanding what is it that we can take from Eid-ul-Adha and present that into our day-to-day life. If you've got anything that you would like to share on the show, I would be delighted to hear from you. And please feel free to contact us on our Facebook page, or also the WhatsApp group, which is 07779 481 I've just had a message from Brother Fayaz. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam, brother. And he's saying Eid Mubarak, and how was your Eid? It was wonderful, brother. Thank you so much for asking. MashaAllah, wonderful with family and loved ones as always. I hope your Eid was well. Do tell us, is there anything, brother, that you are taking from Eid-ul-Adha and are actually now actively hoping to continue to do so in your life? Do share with us. Now, changes. Today, the topic today is about bringing about change from ritual to realignment. So what changes could you suggest people could do? in their lives to make things a lot more, I don't know, bearable, manageable, sustainable? Those sacrifices. Uzma. I don't know if Uzma can hear me. Can you hear
Yeah,
me? I'm going to.
I can hear you. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
whether that question was for me or for the audience.
It's
So,
equally to the audience, but more so to you, Uzma. So, Eid-ul-Adha is about sacrifice, obedience to the Almighty,
hmm.
and moving on, moving on from the festivities. What sacrifices could we make that are sustainable, manageable, and we're able to balance our work and life?
um, I think, for me personally, Shemiza, I suppose I just ended up contemplating on, what is the whole purpose of this sacrifice?
Mhm.
And, is there something that we're missing in that story? The story that we all know, about, Prophet Ibrahim sallam, and, how do we think about it sometimes? And I think we focus too much on the sort of literalist meaning of it,
Mhm.
the dramatic part. Ooh, we got to get close to whatever animal it is that we're sacrificing. Build an attachment to this animal, and then be tested with that sacrifice. But what we really do is forget about stepping back, being still, and how we're actually submitting. It isn't just about giving up something that we loved. That's just too literal.
Mhm.
There's so much deeper in that. How are we completely surrendering? Which is what you said, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. What kind of surrender is this? Is it also about freeing?
Mm.
So for me, it's not just about meat. It's not just about ritual. So some members of the family go out and fulfill that ritual of sacrificing a meat, and then for others, it's that domesticated ritual of investing all their time and energy into fulfilling everyone's desires around Eid. I think it's just much more personal than that. So for me, it's about that sacrifice, giving up pride, giving up things like envy, giving up grudges,
Mm.
the things that hold us back. So I'm talking about the idea, of letting go of resentments. For me, that was really, really powerful. So resentments, I'm not going to sort of lay it all out here because I can never make a fully inclusive list or an exhaustive list. Resentments and egos can come in many, many different forms. Is that resentment because of the sacrifices that you are, in the literalist sense,
Mhm.
making? The rituals that you feel that you're having to perform. This doesn't excuse the fact that you're doing it or say that, no, 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 carry on doing it. It's beyond that. It will allow you to sort of measure whether what you're doing is too much or too little. It's going beyond the surface level details, what you're doing physically. It's about what you're doing mentally. What is it that you're really letting go of in terms of
Indeed.
your internal vices, that ego, that resentment. I think that's so much more powerful. How do we actually do it? It's not easy.
Mm.
It doesn't happen overnight. And so I believe that this Eid-ul-Adha is a blessing and a mercy for us. It's like a spiritual checkpoint, a reminder to notice what we're carrying internally, if that makes
In,
sense.
Indeed, wise words. I mean, it's also for me, it's like, what are we clinging to that we need to place on the altar? And, is it ego? Is it comfort? Is it approval? Or is it fear? And, just like the test for Ibrahim wasn't just about slaughter, it was about surrender, mashallah. Um, Folks, if you've tuned in, you are listening to the Urban Cube. We've got about a minute left to the break. And after the break, we are going to be joined by no other than Uzma Waseem, who is a psychologist. And we're talking about ritual to realignment and, moving on from Eid-ul-Adha and how we can kind of have that soulful, deep connect. Uzma, it's wonderful speaking to you because it kind of, are really opening up a lot for me too, mashallah, on the things that I need to observe and take stock of. And it's so easily, we can so easily get lost in, like, you know, the chaos of life. And you said something very significant. You said to stand still, to just be still with it. And I think we don't do enough of that. And that's something I'm going to kind of talk to you a little bit more about, and how we can actually maintain stillness in our life. Now, folks, as I've already said, feel free to WhatsApp us on 07779481822. We are heading to a break. Straight after the break, I will be joined with the wonderful Uzma Waseem, and we'll be talking about from ritual to realignment. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Isa Toy Mia. I'm from Islamic Help, and I just want to say every act of goodness is charity. So keep doing good, keep helping people, and be yourself. And stay tuned to Inspire 105.1 FM.
Landlords, let us take away the hassle of letting your property. Our comprehensive services include tenant vetting, rent collection and service charges, maintenance and repairs. Ideal Properties has 2 branches and have been established over 20 years and have gained a wealth of knowledge and experience.
If you are thinking of selling or letting your property, then speak to a member of our knowledgeable team about a free no-obligation market appraisal.
We can also offer guaranteed rental income.
Contact us on either Luton 721110 or 696050. Ideal Properties. Service with a smile, whatever your needs.
Universal Clutches on Cosgrove Way in Luton offer more than just clutch repairs. We also now cover MOTs, servicing, brakes, suspension and vehicle recoveries. We've got you covered whether you drive a manual or semi-automatic car, van or truck. We aim to provide a quick and reliable service, and Universal Clutches are an AA and RAC approved garage. For a reliable service you can trust, call 01582 876 300 or find Universal Clutches on Google, Instagram and Facebook.
عن أبي مسعود عقبة بن عمرو الأنصاري البدري رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن مما أدرك الناس من كلام النبوة الأولى إذا لم تستح فاصنع ما شئت.
Need a ride? Village Taxis has you covered. Going to the airport, station, work, hospital or school? Call Village Taxis on Luton 250-250 for a quick, reliable service. New drivers wanted. Get registered today and join the Village Taxis team, serving Luton, Central Beds, TfL, Wolverhampton, Hertfordshire and beyond. Taxi rental also available. Download our easy-to-use Village Taxis app or call on 01582 250 250 to book your ride today. Village Taxis, your local taxi company.
Can you imagine losing your parents and seeing your home destroyed? Thousands of children in Gaza have lost one or both of their parents. Agorsh UK invites you to sponsor an orphan in Gaza and provide them with life-changing care, protection and hope. Let's help orphans to rebuild their lives. Donate your zakat and sadaqah for an orphan in Gaza today. £500 per year or £42 per month. Visit Agorsh UK.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Samira Igala, the co-founder and creative director of Tiny Mu'mins. You can find out more about Tiny Mu'mins on www.tinymu'mins.com. Keep listening to Inspire FM on 105.1.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, and a very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. An absolute pleasure to be in your company, folks. It's 10:30, 9th of June, and I'm Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 11 o'clock. Where else? On Inspire FM 105.1 FM. The show you're listening to is the Urban Cube. It's a show that celebrates arts and lifestyle with trailblazing Muslims. And we have a wonderful guest joining us this morning. She is live on Facebook. You get to see her in all the way from Telford this morning, and with her washing in the conservatory, hanging out proudly, because this week also marks washing up or clothesline week. I always have something quirky to bring to you, right? And I'm so delighted that Uzma is celebrating, marking it with me so proudly too. Folks, the show you're listening to is the Urban Cube, and as always, a pleasure to be in your company. We are going out to the wonderful people of Luton surrounding areas, Peterborough's Salam Radio and Sheffield's Link FM. Now, massive belated Eid Mubarak to everybody listening in. I hope you had a great time at the Inspire FM Eid event, which was an opportunity to bring friends, family, and community together, mashallah. If you've got any Eid messages, or if you'd like to tell us how your Eid went, please feel free to do so on 07779 481 822. A big salam going out to Brother Fayaz. He has messaged saying that his Eid was brilliant. Alhamdulillah. It's what you make of it. It's all about families getting together and leaving behind the daily chores and worldly needs. It sure is. Thank you very much for that, Brother Fayaz. If you'd like to send us a message, please feel free to do so, or even on the Facebook. We are Facebook Live this morning. Now, the topic for today's show, we are looking at Eid-ul-Adha, a call back to the heart from ritual to realignment. And I'm joined by no other than Uzma Waseem. She is a psychologist, and mashallah, she has experience also with Islamic psychology as well. And she's talking to us exactly around ritual to realignment and what that is, mashallah. And you can listen back to that conversation on the first part of the show, because we do have a listen back service as well. Uzma, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's an absolute treat to be in your company, especially after what a whirlwind of a weekend it's been. So thank you. And firstly, I want to ask you, Uzma, how are you? How are you?
I'm just glad to be here.
Bless you. Uzma, do you have a traditional Eid breakfast that you cook?
Oh, we used to have, and then I suppose we just changed that. But we always make something sweet, whether it's rice pudding, kheer, or sevenya.
Semia.
Yeah.
So are they the dry ones or the milk ones?
Oh no, they have to be milky.
Yes, definitely. I love the smell of the semia.
Yeah.
Well, my mother used to cook them whilst I was growing up, and we knew it was Eid when we could smell the semia, the aroma going up to the bedrooms. And she'd always put agarbatti on as well.
Oh.
Like they was the thing that she always did on Eid. Are there any other traditions that you do?
That's just already made me think, because it's like, what else do we do to make Eid stand out from any other day other than just stuffing ourselves? And I think it's just leaning into all our senses. So just talking about that aroma, it smells like Eid today. So that can, become our go-to breakfast. I think it's perhaps just... back in the day, it was perhaps my dad putting on a nag.
Oh, really? Wow.
Listening into some glorious words. If you could understand the deeper meaning of what what they were saying, it wasn't just about having some melodies in the background.
These memories are so precious, aren't they?
Yeah, and then it's just having a crowd together. All that laughing. Amongst other things. So just lots of voices, lots of talking.
The chatter and the wonderful elements of just people coming in and out, in and out, in and out of your
Yeah.
home, and the door is open to everybody to come and rejoice this wonderful occasion.
That's it.
I'm going to ask you a question: pilau or biryani?
Both.
Both?
I prefer making pilau, but this year I made biryani. Yeah.
And was there a particular twist to it?
I don't know. I had made biryani for, I don't really make it very often. So normally we are a palau, family. But with the biryani, I thought, let's make it different. So I couldn't really tell you, I didn't go as far as putting a twist on it. I was just glad that it looked like biryani and tasted like it.
And everybody finished it.
Yeah.
Do you add anything contemporary to your festivities, or does it remain quite traditional?
We did a lot of creative things, just to make it stand out for, I suppose, the younger members of the family. So especially for my children when they were much, much younger. They're in their sort of teens, late teens now. And it was in the lead up to any of the Eid festivities where we wanted to bring in some lessons for Eid. And so we used to do a lot of engaging with our non-Muslim community. Whether it was making Eid cookies at the end of, say, Ramadan, or in this case, it was making a few hampers and putting in a few little hidden lessons or insights about what Eid is, and just
Lovely.
on the doorsteps of neighbours. But in terms of creativity, I think I'm just glad to be able to have the family together and a day off and just do enough.
Definitely, just like having a day off on Eid and bringing everybody together. How wonderful! I'm gonna come back to Brother Fiaz. And as we've been talking about food, he says, "Don't get me and Tariq started on food again, or else Tariq will wake up and get me started again." Eid has to be meat biryani, so not pilau for him. He has to have meat biryani. I wonder if anybody else agrees. Is it? Is it pilau versus biryani, folks? What do people tend to contend with on their table of delights? Uzma, coming back to yourself, we've been talking about sacrifice, and that's what Eid-ul-Adha is, and just learning to kind of from ritual to realignment and what that actually means. And I just wanted to come back to you about this learning and your experience.
So I suppose I was just making an analogy of, what sacrifices are we all making when it isn't just about the physical sacrifice? Sacrificing and, the whole idea of meat and consuming lots and lots of meat on the day. And, that is in itself something that we are expected or obligated to do. But, what else is there that we might be missing? And it sort of just gave me an idea of, in fact, it's a reminder to notice what we're carrying. Mm-hmm. Is it something that is about, okay, am I suspicious of someone for no reason? Am I sort of replaying an old hurt, over a member of a family or an experience over and over again? Because there's certain reminders that might come up when, we start congregating or we start getting together. And I just felt that, in terms of that carrying, it's like we may say, okay, I'm not going to carry this sort of grudge or this envy, or I'm going to let go of this pride, but are you really? It's like saying, I'm going to go for it, and I'm carrying this animal, but I'm not really putting it on, down for slaughter. You're still carrying it with you. So, what are we really carrying? What are we fully, in its entirety, letting go of? Something physical on the outside is easy to let go of as compared to, our inner states.
Indeed. I mean, you've just put this into perspective for me, because you spoke of an animal, and I just thought about, our animalistic nature, and that we sometimes can behave in such a manner, and we need to kind of shift from that and let that go. That really did kind of reach out to me when you said that. I'm coming back to Brother Fiaz here. He says the Qurbani meat on the dining table, definitely our traditional brekkie in Karachi after Qurbani is kaleji and parante. Kaleji and parante. That's a traditional breakfast. Wow. Wow. That's an interesting combination. Thank you for sharing that, Brother Fiaz.
What a shame. I'm going to do next time differently.
Well, no, but sevia sounds yummy too.
Yeah.
And I think it's those smells you spoke about, the senses that create the memories. I want to come back to the boxes, the hampers that you've created for your neighbors, and you spoke about a message that you put into the hampers. What were those messages?
I mean, it's going back a few years now, so I think it was just what lessons had been learned by my children and other children around them, and for them to just put in one key takeaway that they had and put it into a nice message, even if it's just a statement.
Yes.
What stuck out for you? What did you learn? And just put that into a statement and then finish it off with a greeting, an Eid greeting. And we also did a creative, not exercise, but an Eid party where the children came in. We provided them, with not so much a feast, but it was, just a typical Eid environment, just a typical party environment. You invited over for an Eid, booked a hall, and they weren't going to get any party bags. There were going to be lots of party games revolving around the whole idea of Eid-ul-Adha. But what they had to do was bring their sacrifice, and they had to sacrifice an old toy.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so they had to sacrifice a toy that they were very much attached to. It couldn't be a new toy that they bought or an expensive toy. So we had to keep it real. We didn't want to create any trauma. And they brought these toys in. So it was a secondhand toy, but something that they were pretty much attached to, but not too expensive. And when they sacrificed that toy, we put it all into a bag, and we invited which children could join us again at some point later on in that week to donate them to a local hospice or the hospital.
That's a beautiful way of teaching children in giving up something for the goodness of others. How beautiful, how charitable that was. And what a wonderful gesture. I mean, I'd love to hear from listeners if they've got some unique ideas that they have done and shared. Now, Brother Fiaz has actually sent us pictures of the food that he's had on Eid. We have 7 images. Bless the prante and the kaleji. And he also mentioned that semia is served everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's served everywhere. It's still good to have. I have to say, I make the best semia. My Eid semia are the best. Oh, we've got lots of dishes here. He's kind of okay. All right, you're making us hungry, Brother Fiaz. It'd be better if you actually brought the food in rather sending us pictures. But I'm sure Brother Tariq will appreciate these photos. Coming back to you, Uzma, mashallah, what a beautiful activity. And what was the feedback from the children? And did they feel that they understood Eid-ul-Adha a little bit more deeper?
They felt so proactive. I couldn't say what they were feeling, but they were so proactive. I was expecting a few, grunts and groans and, more the parents getting engaged. But no, it was the children and the parents trying to hold them back. It was a nice, pleasant surprise. They were bringing in, it wasn't just more than one toy. They were bringing in bags. These were good quality toys. So, to fulfill the regulations of the hospitals, we had to say no soft toys. There had to be ones that can be cleaned, etc. And so, these were beautiful, belongings of these little children that just came up and said, look what I've got. I used to do this with it and that with it. Who's going to play with it next? And so this act of giving, it was something that taught me that these children, for them, they actually felt more empowered because they thought they were participating and actually, making a contribution to Eid. It wasn't just about running around having a good time and taking.
Indeed.
And this was something that was just unique for them. It wasn't help me put the table out, help me cook, etc., etc. This was their activity that they were given autonomy to do as you please, as long as you fulfill that ask, and they felt so empowered.
And I love that you gave them that opportunity to feel that empowerment, and mostly the connection. They had a connection with the occasion, and also felt that they could practically get involved, and that practical learning allows people to have more of a deeper connect, would you say?
Absolutely did. And I think just seeing it all play out and manifest around you, it sort of allowed the parents to stand still and stand back, and hopefully gave them an opportunity to for tafakkar, and to contemplate and to reflect and to just think, okay, maybe there's more to it, because we get so consumed in fulfilling that obligation. We have to get the qurbani on time. What is it that we're going to do? How are we going to do it? It becomes about the logistics. More so, it's not that we completely disregard the whole concept of it and the whole experience of what it's supposed to teach us, but we get so consumed and dominated by the logistics, we forget about standing still and just thinking, why are we doing this in the first place?
Indeed, like too often rituals become hollow repetitions, but Allah asks us for more than that. And and I think it's like there's a verse that states, their meat will not reach Allah, nor will their blood, but what reaches him is piety from you. And this Eid, we ask, is my heart in sujood or just my forehead? Am I truly submitted or just going through the motions? And I think this kind of clearly reflects what you have been so articulately stating, that it shouldn't just be hollow rituals. There needs to be realignment. We do need to take this learning, which is a blessing in itself, to be reminded what we could be sacrificing and within ourselves, our core, our soul, alhamdulillah. And may it be the courage to walk away from what's unhealthy. May it be, maybe it's the strength to forgive. Maybe it's finally facing your truth. It's not, like I said, just a celebration. It's a mirror. It asks, what will you let go of to become who you are meant to be? Alhamdulillah. And so, from noise to heart, from sacrifice to transformation, what message would you like to give to our listeners from your learnings, Uzma? Because mashallah, you're not somebody who's just a psychologist. You have had such a deep connection within your community through Islamic creativity as well, and learning. You have a rich engagement with community interfaith relations as well, and you've built that with the communities that you're in. And mashallah, you have also a degree in chemistry, and you're doing a PhD as well.
So my main message or messages, I suppose, it's giving yourself some time, in between those rituals. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm just saying, that's not the end. That's a means to a greater purpose. And are you actually fulfilling that, or are you just doing the bare minimum? Like you said, the meat and the blood does not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's what small steps are you taking? What is that one thing, if anything, that you can quietly release for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it a grudge? Is it judging someone? In many cases, are you forgiving yourself? This isn't about big gestures. It's about that shift in thinking internally. And I think that's what really brings peace. So it was just, for me, it's very personal. I won't say what those, sentiments were that I might have been carrying and I let go of. And although I was very, very exhausted over Eid, ritualistically, on a physical sense, I just had a sense of greater peace. And just seeing this day, that this whole idea, the Hajj leading up to it, and then the Eid-ul-Adha, for many of us, we don't get that opportunity to go on Eid, so Hajj. So it's that day, seeing it as a mercy rather than a burden, and it's not that burden that Allah is demanding from us. It's Him guiding us and calling us back with a bit of compassion. Thinking about what it is that you want to sacrifice this Eid that is more internal. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to soften our hearts. And it's understanding that nobody's going to be perfect. We're all in that same boat. And the whole idea is that we are trying to stay soft-hearted in a hard world. And for me, that's just a reminder, that our efforts are being seen, even those silent ones. We're not just doing it for those around us.
Indeed. Slaughtering an animal is easy compared to sacrificing pride, toxic relationships, or habits that quietly kill our faith. I mean, the Qurbani we offer is symbolic, but the real sacrifice starts in the unseen places. Alhamdulillah. So it's such a beautiful reminder, Uzma. Thank you so very much for just sharing your take on this and just reminding us to kind of stay still, take stock of our inner being, our inner self. And I just hope that our listeners who are listening in today can kind of reflect as well and appreciate these sentiments. And if you've seen a shift in your lives that you foresee or want to take, do share with us. We'd love to hear from you regarding that. Uzma, as women, I'm always going to ask you this question. Another bit of a shift is Eid fashion shift. What were you wearing this Eid?
I just ended up making use of I kept it nice and simple, but you know what? This is one day that I was going to treat myself. So it's a funny story. I went traveling to Dubai. It was a transit visit, and I was shopping very late in the day, and I was so tired. My brain was on safe mode. I couldn't do the currency conversion, and I ended up paying a hell of a lot for a pair of scarves and shawls than I normally would. A lot more zeros added to it than I could calculate. So I came back. This was over a year ago, and I thought, right, I'm going to have to sell these on Etsy. I can't afford to keep these. But for some reason, I held on to those. And on Eid, I actually treated myself to one of those scarves, and I wore that. That was my fashion statement. That was a statement. It wasn't a fashion statement. I deserved it.
You totally deserved it. And I hope everybody appreciated the lens.
Yes, I got a lot of
good.
Yeah. So
good. Nice, bless you. But, why is it that mums feel guilty treating themselves? They put their children, this sacrifice that we do as mothers, like put our children's needs before our own, make sure the children have got all the clothes and the accessories, and then mum, if she has time, she may potentially get out of the shalwar and kameez or the garment that she's wearing and get changed, but finding that time to do so.
It was sacrificing the self-sacrifice. It was forgiving myself.
Bless you. What color was the scarf?
I would show you, but it was like a metallic sea blue with a tint of other nuanced pinks and sea greens, and it was beautiful.
I'm glad you said it's beautiful, and it's got a memory attached to it.
Yeah, I put it on, and everybody was just saying, "That's that scarf," and I say, "Yes, it is."
That is that scarf. The infamous scarf, which I think should be a family heirloom now. That should be handed down.
One.
Yeah, handed down generations to come. Now, you're somebody that has that enjoys traveling, and is this something that you have on the cards? And do you think we should travel more? And what are the benefits in that?
I think it helps put a lot of learnings in context. So for me, I always wanted to travel, but never brought myself to doing it because it just seems like a bit of a luxury, like a want to do rather than a need to do. And very quickly, it was just one of the course directors of the course that I'm doing. I don't know if I can mention names, but he ended up doing a PhD, and he was very curious about this whole concept of the soul. And the way that he decided to do it was experientially. So he did a PhD exploring soul in terms of how it was made meaning of amongst various different cultures. So he traveled the world to explore cultures and identify and explore how they make meaning of the soul. How do they define soul, the ruh? And through that process, he took the Shahada as soon as he reached Sudan.
Subhanallah. Wow.
He ended up becoming a student of a scholar there, who was also very much working in the psychology background. One thing led to the next. And he has got this intense experience from his traveling because he added a purpose to it.
And another dimension. Uzma, it is the end of the show, my dear, and it's been such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shemiza.
The wonderful Uzma Waseem. It is the end of the show. Inshallah, join me same time next week.
Coming up next, Awaz-e-Haq with Hafiz Ijaz. This is Inspire FM.
Inspire FM.